Welcome back to a new episode of Insects for Fun. This week, I wanted to really look at and highlight a famous beetle species well known and sought after across many countries, including Japan and the United States. Let's learn all things rainbow stag, including how to care for one. We're first going to start things off with the name. The rainbow stag beetle, scientifically known as Phalacrognathus muelleri, gets its common name from its stunning iridescent exoskeleton, which flashes green, gold, red, and even purple under different lighting. But not all of them are rainbow. Many people actually breed specific color lines, and it's possible to find pure purple, green, red, and blackish blue. The genus name, Phalacrognathus, roughly translates to bald jaw, referencing their smooth, curved mandibles, in contrast to some of their more rugged relatives. The beetles honestly have Loki horns for any Marvel fans out there. And because this is a stag beetle, it belongs to the family Lucanidae, a group characterized by large, sometimes intimidating mandibles used more for show than violence. Phylogenetically, rainbow stags are part of a lineage that stretches back over 150 million years, and the species is native to northeastern Australia and some parts of New Guinea, making it a gem of the Australasian region. So, where can they be seen in the wild? The rainbow stag lives primarily in tropical and subtropical rainforests, particularly in Queensland, Australia. These beetles prefer rotting logs and forest debris where they can find food and lay their eggs. Their habitat choice isn't just about shelter, it's also essential for larval development. They're particularly drawn to tree species like ficus and eucalyptus, whose fallen logs offer ideal conditions for grub growth. But what makes these logs so perfect? Well, it's a combo of moisture, texture, and biochemistry. As they decay, ficus logs become soft and spongy, easy for larvae to tunnel into and feast on. Eucalyptus, while denser, also breaks down into a fibrous, nutrient-rich substrate that holds moisture, critical for the larvae's survival. These logs host beneficial microbes and fungi that help break down tough wood fibers, essentially pre-digesting the wood for the larvae. Some species of eucalyptus even have mild antimicrobial properties that might reduce harmful bacteria and fungi in the wood, creating a healthier microhabitat. Add to that the structural protection from predators, and you've got a deluxe grub nursery that's part pantry, part fortress. Now, when it comes to behaviors and defenses, rainbow stag beetles are primarily nocturnal and solitary. The males try to stake out good breeding grounds as their territory and patrol them to fend off other males. Those long, Loki-esque mandibles are used in jousting matches in the event an unwanted male is found. But these contests are more about leveraging strength than actual harm. Think of it like wrestling rather than street fighting. Males will try to flip their rivals off a branch or log to assert dominance. As for defense, well, their colors might make them look like easy targets, but that shimmering shell actually helps with camouflage, breaking up their outline against the colorful dappling light of the rainforest. As adults, rainbow stags are sap feeders, often found lapping up tree sap and fermenting fruit juices. They're especially fond of overripe mangoes, bananas, and the sap of acacia trees. The larvae, on the other hand, are xylophagus, which means they eat rotting wood. And the life cycle of a rainbow stag spans roughly 1.5 to 2 years. It begins with eggs laid deep within decaying wood. These hatch into creamy white C-shaped larvae that spend the entirety of their lives feeding and growing within the wood. They go through 3 larval stages, molting between each stage before entering a pupal chamber also made from chewed wood fibers. This pupal stage lasts between 1.5 to 2 months, but the adults will stay in the chamber for an extra few weeks to months as their exoskeleton hardens. Adult beetles typically live 6 to 12 months, with their activity peaking during the warmer, wetter months from late spring through summer. But they can live longer than 1 year as an adult in captivity, sometimes up to 2 or more. At this point, you might be thinking, hey, I kind of want to try having one for a pet. How do I get them, and what does one need? Well, lucky for you, these beetles can be purchased pretty easily online, or if you live in Japan, you can find them in home centers and pet stores during the summer. Caring for rainbow stag beetles is relatively beginner-friendly compared to other exotic insects, which is part of their appeal to enthusiasts worldwide. Adults can be kept in medium-sized enclosures with proper ventilation, a substrate of decayed wood or coconut fiber, and access to moisture. They thrive in temperatures between 22 to 26 Celsius, or 71 to 79 degrees Fahrenheit, with high humidity. Their diet in captivity includes beetle jelly, pieces of banana, apple, and mango. Adult beetles don't need much space to be content, but do benefit from logs and bark to climb up and explore. Also, do not feed them citrus fruits. The citrus can disrupt their gut microbiota and potentially make them unable to eat anything afterwards. As for breeding, there are different methods people employ, but generally speaking, you want a separate container specifically to house the female, and you're going to need to fill it up to about 70% with moist, decayed wood shavings. You can find stag beetle breeding mat relatively easily, and mat is indeed the word used for their substrate. People recommend you really push the substrate or mat down to make it super compact, and people also buy special breeding logs that they lay on top or have buried. Now, I didn't buy the special breeding logs, and I still had a female lay eggs. And each female can lay between 20 and 50 eggs in her lifetime, and they can do it over a long period of time. For example, you might find 20 eggs in an enclosure a few weeks after mating, and then continue to find new eggs over the course of the year. Grubs require several months to grow, often a full year or more depending on temperature and food availability. Growth really slows in colder climates, and the size of the beetle will vary greatly depending on the kind of wood shavings you provide. As I mentioned in a different episode, beetle larvae love special fungus decayed wood known as kinshi, and you can really maximize the size of your beetles by providing this early in your beetle larvae's development. Larvae are usually raised individually to prevent competition and cannibalism. As for pricing, a single adult rainbow stag beetle can range from $30 to over $100 USD, depending on its color, size, and sex. Males with bright metallic hues and large mandibles are especially prized. Larvae and breeding pairs often sell for more due to their long-term value. Also, there are different types of males depending on their horn size. There's beta males, which have very small horns, regular males, and alpha males whose size and horns are very impressive. Earlier, I mentioned that you want a separate container for the female beetles, and this is specifically because if you leave a female and male together in the same tank for more than a week, then you risk shortening both their lifespans due to repeated mating. And that is gonna wrap up this week's episode. I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, make sure to rate the podcast on whatever platform you listen. Leaving a review also really helps push it further if you listen on Apple. The weather is heating up, which means blog content will soon be making a reappearance on Patreon, and I will be adding many new bonus episodes as well. Thank you again for listening.